Good morning and welcome to a really short video talking about the bike I rode at the National Hill Climb. I'm going to do this because I know when I'm filming this, I know I'm going to have a lot of people asking, so I thought I might as well just do a little bit about what I was riding. Briefly, Argon 18 Sun frame set in the Eyewear Push Bikers colours, Dura-Ace group set, Enve wheels, Schwalbe tyres. That's a really simple way of wording it, but I'll go into a bit more detail on it now because it's in front of me. So this is going to be quite a short video, just sort of briefly speaking about the bike itself. So this is a Argon 18 Sun in the Push Bikers colorway. So this is a team that Argon 18 sponsor, and I happen to know the guy that started the team quite well. And I purchased this frame. This is not a sponsor bike. I purchased it because I really just loved the colorway of it. I thought it was really, really cool. The Sun is basically Argon 18's kind of everything bike. A little bit aero, good for climbing, good for racing. The bike itself is being used by a couple of teams. The Eyewear Push Bikers team, which is this colorway. Novo Nordisk, which Sam Brand, a mate, races for that team, which is a team of diabetic riders. And Project Echelon, which is a team built up of a lot of veterans out in America, and they do crit racing and stuff like that. So we've seen like Novo Nordisk racing all around the world. Project Echelon raced at the Tour of Britain this year. It's a really cool teams that they sponsor. They're all doing something else apart from just racing bikes, whether there's a community aspect or a supporting things like riders with diabetes, etc. as well. Now, to run down a bit about the spec of this bike, I didn't go down the rabbit hole crazy deep this year for the National Hill Climb because, being perfectly honest, I didn't actually know if I was going to do it. So I went down the rabbit hole a little bit, just sort of went in to the entrance. I wanted to make sure I was using an Argon 18, obviously, and I wanted to try and do something that was relatively lightweight, but still completely usable as a road bike. Next year, the National Hill Climb is about half an hour away from me in Matlock. I did a video on that hill climb, which I'll put in the pop-out bit somewhere, so you can watch that if you want to. But it's a really short climb, and I think I'm gonna go deep down the rabbit hole for the National Hill Climb next year. Anyway, back to this bike. So, as I said, the Sun frame set, lovely little details on it. There's my dog Marshall there. And I built this up with a Dura-Ace Di2 group set, 160 rotor on the front, 140 rotor at the rear. The crank set is a 5236 and a 170 crank. I use Garmin, oh God, nearly fell. I use Garmin Rally power meter pedals, so I've got them dual-sided power meter pedals on it. And on the back it's an 1134 cassette, Dura-Ace cassette, and you can see it's gonna fall, I need to stop. We're back, we're good. So 1134 Dura-Ace cassette, there's a little bit of bling there from Kogel, which is some old ceramic pulley wheels that I had at home and decided to add them on because why not. Saddle is a Gebiomized Sleek, I think it's called, which is the saddle I use for everything now. It's not crazy light, but it's really comfortable, but it's what I like riding on. Rear light is the Exposure Blaze. For hill climbs and time trials in the UK, you have to run a rear light, and you have to run a front light, and you have to wear a helmet. Those are the rules. With hill climbs, generally speaking, they are closed, and you can go quite to town with really lightweight lights, but I just used what I had. I'm quite happy with that. Anyway, so Dura-Ace group set, Dura-Ace shifters, Dura-Ace mechs, Dura-Ace crankset, the Dura-Ace style rotors, which are these ones. These are like the current newest rotors they do. The wheels are Enve 2.3s, which is Enve's super lightweight shallow rim. Still pretty aero actually, but I think they're a beautiful looking set of wheels. The original plan was to go and build up some super lightweight wheels, but unfortunately that didn't happen for several reasons I won't go into. But these still weighed a really competitive weight at, I think, just over a kilo, which is fantastic actually. But go down the line, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to change the hubs out to a lighter hub. And I did use Bird spokes last year, the string spokes, and they're good and they are super light, but I'd be honest, I wasn't that fussed on how they rode. Like I think they'd be amazing for off-road and mountain biking, but for road, I think you lose a bit of the stiffness for something like a hill climb, which actually is very useful, even though you do save weight. For me, as a larger rider, I would prefer the stiffness over the weight saving for allowing me to put more power down, basically. But they look cool, which is quite good. But I think the plan will be to deconstruct these wheels at some point. I'm changing the decals to some white ones with some chrome little details on them. Got some chrome hubs, and I'm going to build them up with some silver spokes. So that's going to look really cool. Tyres, everyone's been asking about these. These are quite hard, well, an incredibly hard to get hold of set of tyres now. They're Schwalbe Spartacus limited edition tyres. They're the Pro 1, and they were done in collaboration with Fabian Cancellara. They are white, like all round. They ride exactly the same as the black tyres. The compound's the same. They basically removed the carbon in it and then made them white. They're really hard to get hold of, but my God, they look so cool. They are 28 front and rear, if I remember correctly. They only did them in that size, and yeah, they do get a bit dirty, but actually you can clean them quite easily. So great for summer, and great for something like a national hill climb where you just want to look cool. Seat post is Argon 18 zone. This is an inline seat post designed specifically for the frame. Works great. They generally will come with a 25mm setback on this frame, but you can get hold of the inline ones if you speak to your Argon 18 shop or dealer that's near you. The headset on this, we've used the Argon 18's 3D Plus system to just raise it a little bit, just because this is quite an aggressive frame and I wanted a bit of a higher front end. So this is the basically the collar for the 3D Plus system, which you press into the frame, and then the bearing sits in here as opposed to here. So it raises the bearing slightly, which helps increase the stiffness. And then the actual headset itself in here is a Chris King Aeroset headset, which is, I chose to go for the chrome one because I thought it would look quite cool. And this is designed to work with the Enve's in-route stem, which is their like fully integrated stem, which they originally released for their bikes, but you can now purchase it as a secondary thing. This basically allows all the cabling to run internal of the frame and then internal of the stem. You can build this bike up with the cabling external. I think FSA do an option that will work absolutely fine. And there are other headsets, as I say, FSA and I think Dida maybe make one that will work. And then they obviously work with their corresponding stems. Stem length is 120mm. That's what I ride on pretty much everything. The bar tape is Enve's bar tape. And the handlebars are the AR, the all-road bars, which are a slightly flared bar, slightly flared this way, slightly aero this way, but super, super comfortable. I ride them on basically everything now. The computer mount I purchased was a Styrkr Chisley or something like that, I think it's called. Basically, they just released it and it works with the Garmin 1050 without needing an adapter. I actually use this computer, which is I think an 850. Actually, for the National Hill Climb, I use this, which is an 840 solar, as opposed to the 1050. But the 1050 is slightly longer than the 1040 solar. So this 3D printed mount basically accommodates for that. It's slightly longer, so it fits perfectly. These Styrkr mounts, they're expensive, but the quality on them is exceptional. And they come with a little GoPro mounting bit, which you can mount your light on as well. So yeah, that's kind of the bike. I took the bottle cages off. I kept the wolf tooth bottle cage things on because they look cool. The lock rings I've used are wolf tooth ones, which you can kind of see if I go around here. Silver ones. Just looks really, really nice. And yeah, that's basically the bike. I'm going to do like a proper sort of review video on it at some point in the future, but I've absolutely loved riding this thing. I loved riding this out in Ibiza, and I'm looking forward to taking it on some more like lovely riding trips as well, because it's just a thing that's really quite spectacular. So yeah, if you have any questions about Argon 18 Sum or Sun Pro frame sets and how it compares to some of the other bikes in the lineup, put it in the comments and I'll get back to you on those. But yeah, generally speaking, I've really enjoyed riding this one, and it was a great bike for the National Hill Climb this year. Admittedly, could have gone down the rabbit hole quite deep and made something super light. I think I'm going to do that next year and give myself a year to work on that project. Because this year with the National Hill Climb, as I say, I wasn't going to do it. So it was quite a last minute decision really. But I've now got a year to bury deep into the rabbit hole. You right, Marshall? You're upside down. You appear to be upside down, buddy. Oh yeah. Marshall stickers. They are available with 0 lemon purchases. I basically put them with anything you purchase from 0 lemon. Let's make my dog famous. Thank you for watching. See you for the next one.